Good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Jo In-suk, as I was introduced. Jo is my family name. Korean put the last name first, same as in Hungary and in Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm an architect, an expert member, and newly elected bureau member of IIWC, ICOMOS International Wood Committee, and a current, as he already explained, and a current commissioner of the Cultural Heritage Maintenance and Technologies Committee of Korea. It's a national committee under the law. So, congratulations again to the second International Conference of the Committee for Folk Architecture. It is a great honor and privilege for me to be here to present in front of such a distinguished audience at a memorable event. I appreciate being given this opportunity to share my view on the further consideration of the folk vernacular architecture, especially focus on from the traditions to the future. Since you have very limited information of Korea ahead of main subject, I would introduce a little bit about the Republic of Korea. Okay? I need two things. Sorry about it. This one? Okay. The Korean peninsula lies in the middle of Northeast Asia, flanked by China to its west and Japan to its east. The peninsula is 950 kilometers long longitudinally and 540 kilometers wide latitudinally. Korea is the presidential republic and the capital city is Seoul. I'm from Seoul. %70% of the entire territory is mountainous. Mountains over 1,000 meters above sea level make up only 15% of the mountainous areas, while mountains lower than 500 meters account for 65%. The total area of South Korea is 100,364 square kilometers, very small country. The coastal line is 2,413 kilometers. Climate is subtropical of the northern hemisphere. Populations are 51 million. Among them, almost 50% are living in Seoul and its vicinity. Men and women are almost half and half. Korea has a unique language and its own writing system, Hangul. Hangul is composed of 14 consonant letters and 10 vowel letters. In the national flag, the white background symbolizes brightness, purity, and peace-loving ethnic characteristics. The taeguk symbolizes harmony between yin and yang. Yin is blue here, yang is red here, which embodies the truth about Mother Nature. All things in the universe are created and evolved through the interaction between yin and yang. National anthem, national emblem, national seal, and national flower. It's a Sharon rose. The topic of today's presentation is a tale of vernacular in transition, modern techniques and traditional concepts. I would introduce you an example of architecture of HumanitiesArchive Yangleem, Cheongju City, Korea. The project can be looked at under the following headings. Firstly, initiation, the starting of this hybrid architecture. Secondly, assertion, the execution of this idea. Thirdly and lastly, reflection, the challenging part of the project. I would be glad to answer any questions at the end of my presentation. Otherwise, there will be time for discussion at the dinner table. Before we go to the main part, let us review what is folk architecture and what is vernacular architecture. Actually, this morning we talk about a lot, but just a brief, because I prepared it. This is a quote from an article of Designing Building UK. Vernacular architecture is characterized by its reliance on needs, construction materials, and traditions specific to its particular locality. It is a type of architecture which is indigenous to a specific time and place and not replicable, not replicated from elsewhere. Historically, vernacular architecture has incorporated the skills and expertise of local builders as opposed to formally trained architects. Folk architecture is the living environment people have created for themselves. We can define local architecture as an architecture formed in the process of anonymous design which later becomes traditional under the influence of various factors. Hanok, you might know the terminology Hanok. Hanok is the indigenous house for Koreans and continues to be built in Korea to this day with proper materials. These are earth, wood, and the stones from the very nature we are living in, with techniques handed down to us through generations, and based on a sound structure of column and beam with mortise and tenon joints that create aesthetic beauty. As a result of sound and rational structure, a beautiful eave line is created. In other words, the site location, the natural environment, its local materials, and traditional techniques are the basic elements for a hanok, the house of Korean wooden structure. Actually, this is the quotation from my lecture of 6th of March, 2017. The title of the lecture was Understanding Hanok, Challenging Authenticity and Integrity. The Humanities Archive Yangleem was completed in May 2022 after a highly anticipated design and construction work in a location overlooking Mount Bumo Fortress in the background and with Jubong Lotus Pond in the foreground. It is in a small rural village called Jubong in the city of Cheongju, Chungcheongbuk-do province, Korea. Jubong means surround the mountain peak. Mountain Bumo is situated on the summit at the western entrance of Cheongju City. Although it is not a high mountain, it carries immense geographic and historical significance to the citizens of Cheongju. It embraces the Mountain Bumo Fortress and raised feasting pond on the peak, while housing Buddhist temples and shrines at the foot. So Mountain Bumo, the Bumo means the parents. The name of the mountain is Parents Mountain. Jubong Village is a tranquil rural village located on the southern slope of Mountain Bumo, comprising around 70 households. At the entrance to the village, there is a lotus pond of same name of the village Jubong, well manicured with lotus flowers. A founder and the owner of a construction company in Cheongju, the same city, had collected numerous books and materials on humanities for a long time. He wanted to make a valuable contribution to the general public by donating his collections. To fulfill his dreams, an appropriate space is needed to house these books and materials. He finally found a piece of land in a rural area which is located not far from his office. He asked an architect friend who works with him in the same building in Cheongju City to design it. After lengthy discussions with contemporary challenges to vernacular architecture, it was decided to combine the traditional Korean architecture and modern concrete structure. By bringing together the contrasting characteristics of concrete and vernacular wooden structure hanok, the architect and the client as one team explored the possibilities of form and function that could arise. The symbolic and aesthetic qualities produced by this hybrid structure were also considered. The curvature of the roof, the details of the wooden architecture, and how they could serve as functional objects within Jubong village while harmonizing with the surroundings. Let me share the basic information of architecture of Humanities Archive Yangleem. It was designed with 3 above ground floors and 1 basement floor. The main purpose of the above ground section, which serves as the archive, was to align it with the axis connecting Mount Bumo Fortress and Jubong Lotus Pond, considering the surrounding topography. The main entrance was directed towards the relatively spacious underground level, allowing a gradual entrance through a long ramp with exposed concrete walls on both sides, shielding the view of the bustling surroundings. The design signifies an invitation to the serene and solemn space pursued by the Humanities Archive Yangleem. Additionally, a consistent circulation system was maintained by providing access back to the ramp from the above ground level. The ramp walls display various clay figures, japsang. The name of these figures is japsang, reminiscent of ornamented eaves of the palace roofs, creating a symbolic representation of vernacular architecture. Actually, japsangs are human and animal-shaped clay figures. During the Joseon Dynasty, these figures were built to prevent any negative energy from entering from the palace. They were widely known as the guardians of the royal palaces. The underground space consists of a cafe and the remaining archives. While the main axis of the underground space align with the above ground direction, The cafe is oriented towards the east, providing a view of the lotus pond. This design allows visitors to enjoy the morning sunlight directly in the cafe and experience the changing sunlight as it moves from the front to the left and rear side of the archive over time. To prevent excessive sunlight from entering the bookshelves, a core was positioned on the west side, and the depth of the hanok window lattice was increased, allowing for both functional and decorative elements to be incorporated. The underground space features a lotus flower level that extends 4 meters below the ground surface near the pond where the cafe named Humanities is situated. It was designed to provide a creative space where the changing appearance of the nearby Jubong Lotus Pond can be experienced up close. In the central area, a sunken water space was incorporated, while a sunken triangular courtyard with small rocks was placed in the inner rear space to allow for natural light and airflow. The water space is adorned with a sculptural object called Jusan. In the paper, I described it the same, the alphabet is J-U-S-A-N, but I changed it to J-O-O-S-A-N because different Chinese character. Jusan, it means an umbrella wooden column. This symbolizing the wooden structure of the load-bearing system of the traditional roof, while the triangular courtyard creates a casual space with small rocks, as you already have seen. Adjacent to the two courtyard hall space, there are Jusanjeong, literally means umbrella wooden column courtyard hall, but it is a small room, and Souk also literally means a small rocks courtyard room, which can be utilized as the gathering spaces for activities such as small-scale seminars and reading clubs. The windows facing each courtyard and the exterior are installed with folding doors, allowing for the expansion and division of the space according to the purpose of the use, as well as adapting to different seasons and times. The first and the second floor. In Korea, your ground floor is first floor, your first floor is our second floor. So, these features a central area dedicated to bookshelves. Seating is arranged in the space between the bookshelves and near the windows, allowing readers to enjoy the front view of the lotus landscape and the rear view of the rice fields and mountains while reading. On the eastern side of the second floor, two rooms called Buyeonru and Angsongru were laid out. Buyeon means a room, Buyeonru means a room looking down the lotus leaves. Angsongru means a room looking down the mountain fortress. So both looking down the southern lotus pond and looking down the northern mountain boomer fortress, respectively. These rooms serve as a small-scale gathering spaces and can be combined into a big single room as needed. To maintain the proportional aesthetics of traditional architecture and create a symbolic appearance, vernacular wooden railings were installed around the perimeter of the second floor, allowing visitors to view the surrounding nature while also providing a visually appealing look for a higher Hanok architecture compared to the surrounding environment. The third floor, Yangleem, also it means Hall of Cultivating Human Beings. It was designed as a multi-purpose space, prepared the anticipation of future use for audiovisual presentations, seminars, and exhibitions, and other purposes. To make use of the space under the roof, which is typically unused in vernacular wooden structure due to the frames of columns, beams, and purlins, a sloped concrete structure and a vernacular Hanok gable roof were applied. This design minimizes the higher appearance from the outside while creating a spacious interior with high ceilings. In locations where protective side wooden panels from the weather would typically be installed, vertical louvers made of wood with slits were installed, creating a space with wide windows from the inside while not being fully exposed from the outside. This design provides a balance between privacy and ability to enjoy the surrounding views. The exterior spaces on the ground level were designed to maximize the landscape within the limited area. The surroundings of the archive feature a combination of platforms, stone wall, vernacular Korean fences, and exposed concrete walls. In the direction of the Jubong Lotus Pond, the outdoor viewing area was created with a sloped terrain, allowing for a higher ceiling in the interior cafe while providing a comfortable view of the Lotus Pond from the ground level. Functionally, the design effectively contrasts the architectural forms of vernacular buildings with a concrete structure, allowing each to showcase its unique advantages. The building's elegant and majestic appearance complements the surrounding nature, while the underground space seamlessly integrates with the environment of the surrounding Jubong village. Let me introduce appearances of the architecture. The west side elevation, the main facade, and southern elevation. The east elevation and main entryway. The rear side and north elevation, this is the night view. This hybrid building was designed to house humanities books, photographs, and audiovisual records from the beginning. During the course of design and building, the name HumanitiesArchive Yangleem was conceived with the intention of fostering knowledge and cultivating human beings. What is noteworthy is that while using the state-of-the-art technology in design and construction, deliberate efforts were made to incorporate the most authentic traditional concepts. All kinds of M&E facilities and sanitary equipments installed are not only designed to be high-end and user-friendly, but also meticulously planned to ensure proper integration with modern measurements and future sustainability. In addition, in the part of vernacular wooden architecture, various national intangible cultural heritages, and skilled traditional craftsmen such as major carpenter, minor carpenters, stonemason, roof tiler, and plasterer were employed en masse. We can glimpse some of the works from these intangible heritages, especially of major carpenter's work here. This faces north. Sorry. And this to south. It automatically changed. The most challenging part when trying to design a vernacular wooden architecture was rules on the fire resistance structure of buildings, rules on the evacuation and fire prevention structures of the buildings, and rules on structural standards, including structural safety against earthquakes. Under the current building code, residential buildings are permitted to have a maximum of 2 stories with wood. But for non-residential structures made entirely of wood, the code restricts the number of floors to just 1. To fulfill the requirement of a building with at least 2 floors for the purpose of first and second class neighborhood living facilities, it is inevitable to adopt a steel frame structure or a reinforced concrete structure. In our commitment to sustainable architecture, by crafting the most sophisticated modern technology to give necessary functions, it was intended to contribute to the revitalization of the village with this small attempt to inherit the disappearing vernacular building technology. Let me show you a short video clip of time-lapse of the whole procedure. Actually, I did as an advisor from the beginning to buy the piece of land to finish whole project. So I involved every stage. What happened? Where's sound? So, to sum up, there were three main focus areas reviewed with the focus on the architecture of Humanities Archive Yangleem, Cheongju City, Korea. So you remember the three things: the initiation, assertion, and lastly, the reflection. In conclusion, I would like to say this presentation suggests a further consideration on the intention to contribute to the revitalization of the village with the small attempts to inherit the disappearing vernacular building technology. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.